lines crossed.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a healthy meal prep for the week. It's January, and if you're anything like me, I really overindulged in November and December. So meal prepping is a great way to get me back on track. If I have healthy food ready to go in the fridge, I'm more likely to make good choices. So today I'm going to spend a couple of hours preparing some breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. And a lot of the recipes that I'm going to show you today are also suitable for families. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I make so many meal prep videos. I'll link some previous ones down below so you can go and check them out. I've done fussy eater meals for kids, family meals, healthy meals like this. So I would love to have you as a viewer. And I've got a little plan here today of what I'm going to be making. So I'll just share that with you. So the plan is to make some pecan granola that I can have at breakfast, some cacao and almond energy balls. I'm also going to slow cook some chicken to have on hand for salads. I'm gonna make a butternut squash and ginger soup. I'm gonna make my favorite veggie chili for the whole family. I'm also gonna make a simple Madras curry, and I'm gonna prepare some snacks, like I'm gonna cut up some veg and some fruit, and I'm gonna hard boil some eggs as well to have for snacks and egg salad sandwiches and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take you through how I do it, and I hope you really enjoy this video. So with all that said, let's get into this meal prep. Whenever I meal prep, I try to get any slow cooker recipes on first because they take the longest and then they can be cooking away while I'm doing everything else. So today I'm just going to very simply slow cook some chicken breasts that I can then use in salads and sandwiches as well. So I've just chucked in 4 chicken breasts. I'm going to season them with some salt and pepper, and then I've added in about 1/3 cup of chicken stock, and then I'm just going to put my slow cooker on low for 6 to 7 hours. I'll just check it at the end, and then we can have these for lunches. Or we actually, the other night I hadn't organized dinner, so I ended up giving the boys some chicken, chips and veg, and it was really simple, but they really liked it. Next up, I'm just going to prepare some fruit and veg for the week. This doesn't take very long, but you would be amazed how much time it can actually save you. So I'm just going to wash off our grapes and our blueberries in a strainer. But when it comes to strawberries, when I wash them, I actually soak them in a bowl of water for a good 5 minutes. We love strawberries in this house, but they are one of the worst fruits for pesticides. And once I watched a video saying that this is like a good way to wash them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to like cut them up or anything because I find they go bad quicker, but at least they're washed and ready in the fridge. And then I can just like, it's so quick to prepare. I'm also going to chop up some red peppers and some carrots. I buy the carrots that don't need to be peeled, and I'm also going to cut up some cucumber as well. Then before I start chopping my veg, I'm actually going to put some eggs on to boil for 10 minutes to make some hard-boiled eggs. These are a great quick protein snack. I really like them with a little bit of salt, and they're also great for egg salad sandwiches as well. Then I'm going to put my fruit into some glass Tupperware that I have. I will link it below in the description because it has been really good for meal prepping. And I'm actually going to take all of the grapes off of the vine because that will save me so much time during the week. And then I'm just going to cut up the carrots and the peppers and the cucumbers into these like little veggie sticks. These are great as a snack with hummus, or my boys really like raw vegetables. So sometimes at dinner, I will just like make them a normal dinner and then put some raw veggies on the side. Or if they're starving before dinner, I'll just give them some of those to have while they're waiting. So yeah, just really handy. Also for me as well, if I fancy like crisps, sometimes like crunchy veg can like tide you over when you're trying to be good. So that is all the fruit and veg except for the strawberries. I'm now just going to go over and rinse the strawberries off. We go through strawberries so quickly in this house, so washing all of them like this really works for our family. But if you don't go through them in like 2 to 3 days, obviously you could just wash as you go. But a lot of us have them at breakfast. Matt has them on protein pancakes. I have them on porridge, and the boys really like them as well. So this actually works really well for our family. Then just using the same bowl, I've just rinsed it out. I'm going to fill it up with some cold water, and then I'm going to put those hard-boiled eggs straight into cold water to cool them down. This stops the yolk bit from going green. You know, sometimes it goes a bit green. If you stick them in cold water straight away, you hopefully won't get that. So then I'm just going to store it in a glass Tupperware as well with a little bit of, what's it called, a paper towel, so it doesn't break. And then I'm actually just going to peel them when I eat them. I don't peel them before. And I'm also going to put the strawberries blueberries in the fridge, and then we have all of these beautiful like fruits and veggies that are ready to go throughout the week. Now I'm just gonna chop up some sweet potatoes, just 2 sweet potatoes, into little cubes, and I'm gonna put them onto a baking tray and add some spices. So I'm adding some cinnamon, some cayenne pepper, and some cumin as well, just about a teaspoon of each. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of olive oil. You can also add some salt and pepper if you want to. This is actually part of the veggie chili that I'm making. I will link the recipe in the description. It's one that I've made many times before. We just really like chili, and it's a great, like chili's a great meal that you can have veggie or vegan. We try to eat veggie at least 3 to 4 times per week. And so yeah, I'm just gonna stick these sweet potatoes into the oven, and then they can be cooking away while I'm gonna make a soup for the week. And this soup is so good. I would highly recommend it. My friend actually recommended this recipe to me. It is a butternut squash and ginger soup, and it's very easy to do. All I do is I put a tiny bit of butter into a big pot like this. Then I've added in 1 chopped onion. I'm also going to add in an entire butternut squash. I just cut up the whole thing. Then I add in a vegetable stock cube and some garlic and ginger as well. And I'm really lazy. I like to cook with garlic paste and ginger paste as well. So I'm just eyeballing it, but I reckon that's like 3 cloves of garlic worth. And then I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of ginger paste as well, which gives it a really lovely flavor. And to give it a bit of kick, I'm adding in about a teaspoon of chili flakes. And then when I eat it, I tend to put chili flakes on top of it as well, with a bit of coriander. Then I'm adding in about a liter of boiling water, and then all you have to do is let that simmer for about 15 minutes. And once it's all soft, I'll just whiz it up with my handheld blender, and then I add in a can of coconut milk to make it really creamy. And I'm using lighter coconut milk, so that's a tiny bit more healthy. And then I actually return this to the hob for 5 minutes, and that is it. A healthy, delicious soup that is full of goodness, and we can have this throughout the week for lunch. So on the day that I made this, we actually had it immediately because it smells so good. And when we have it, we add a few more chili flakes on top and coriander if we have it in. And then with the remaining soup, I actually have these handy Ziploc bags that you can rewash and reuse, and they're great for storing things like soup and chili in. I can either put it into the fridge or into the freezer, and they're really easy to stack, and they're just great. So I'm putting in portions for me and Matt tomorrow, and then portions for me and Matt the next day. And yeah, that's our healthy lunches sorted. While the soup was simmering away, I made my favorite energy balls. These are a Deliciously Ella recipe. I've shown them before on my channel, and I just love them. Whenever I'm trying to be really healthy, these are like a real treat for me. So the first thing that I'm doing is adding in some almonds into a Vitamix. Then I'm adding in some medjool dates, making sure to take the pit out before I put them in, because I didn't buy the pitted version. But the medjool dates make these so sweet. They kind of hold it all together, and they're really nice as a treat, like with a cup of tea in the afternoon. Then I'm also going to add in some coconut oil, and I will link the recipe in the description so that you can see all of the exact measurements. And I'm just going to whiz that up with the coconut oil before adding in some cacao powder. This gives them a lovely color and actually makes them taste like chocolatey. And then I'm also going to add in some almond butter, and that is literally it. You basically just chuck all of that into a mixer, and that is how you make the energy balls. Then all that's left to do is to roll up the mixture. So I take about a tablespoon of it and just roll it up in my hands, put it into Tupperware, and then once I've done all of the mixture, I'll put them into the freezer for about an hour so that they really keep their shape, and then I transfer them to the fridge. And these keep in my fridge for like 2 to 3 weeks, but they really don't tend to last very long. I'll have like one a day. The kids like them as well, and as I said, they're really good, like a quick snack. They're full of protein. Obviously they're very sweet, so if you're ever having like a afternoon lull, they're perfect for that. Next up, I'm going to make my veggie chili. So I have made this in the slow cooker before, but today I'm actually just going to make it on the hob because I obviously have the chicken in the slow cooker. So it calls for 1 onion chopped up, but all I had was red onion, so that will do. Then I've also added in 2 chopped up peppers, some garlic paste, some crushed chilies, a tiny bit of cinnamon, then a tiny bit of cumin, and also some cayenne pepper as well. Then I add in 2 cans of chopped tomatoes and then 2 cans of beans, which I have drained and rinsed. Today I'm adding a can of cannellini beans and also a can of kidney beans, but if you had chickpeas or whatever you have will work. Then I'm just going to give it a stir, and then I tend to fill up one of the empty cans halfway with cold water. Then I leave that to simmer for 30 minutes, and then at the very end I add in those sweet potatoes that have been cooking in the oven for about an hour. So while that is simmering, I'm gonna make my favorite pecan granola. This is a Joe Wicks recipe, and it makes a big jar of granola like this that I then like to have on top of Greek yogurt with a little bit of maple syrup. So the first thing I've done is I've grated 1 entire apple into a bowl. Then I'm adding in some oats, and then I'm adding in some nuts as well. You can add pretty much any, but I really like to add pecan, and I've added in some cashew nuts as well. I also add a big glug of honey and some cinnamon as well. And then you also put raisins into this recipe, but at the very end. So you bake it all through and then add the raisins. So then I'm just gonna give it a really good mix and put it onto a roasting pan, which I've greased with a little bit of coconut oil so it doesn't stick, or you could also use baking paper or tin foil if that's easier. But you want to lay it out on the tray in like quite a thin layer so that it all like bakes quite well. Then you just pop this into the oven for 25 minutes on quite a low heat, about 160 or gas mark 4 for me. And then what I do is like every 10 minutes or so I just keep checking on it, give it a shake and a stir, just make sure it's toasting like all the way through. Then I take it out, leave it to cool, and then I add in the raisins. I just stir up all the raisins and the granola, and then I store it all in like an airtight jar like this or some Tupperware. It keeps for a good like 2 or 3 weeks, and I just sprinkle about 40 grams or so onto Greek yogurt in the morning, and it's a really healthy breakfast that keeps me full until lunchtime. And as I said, like doing this, it lasts for quite a long time, so I really like it. So before I put the granola in, I actually took the sweet potato out that was in the oven, and then once the chili had simmered through, I just pop it in, add it, and then that's all done. I'm just gonna stir it through and then store it in some of those handy storage bags, which I will link in the description down below because they're great for space saving if you do meal prep. You can freeze food in these flat in the freezer, and then once they're frozen, you can stack them upwards, and they're so much more space saving than Tupperware. So that is it. We have chili for at least 2 nights and a lunch as well. And then the last recipe that I wanted to show you today is a very simple 6-ingredient curry. So for this, I've chopped up 4 chicken breasts, put it into a bowl with a little bit of olive oil and a tablespoon of the Madras curry powder, which you can see there. And then if I was really good, I would leave that to sit for like half an hour to an hour, but I'm just gonna stick it straight into the pan today. You can also season it with salt and pepper if you want to. And I'm just gonna cook the chicken through and then add in 2 peppers. I've got a red pepper and a yellow pepper. And then I'm also adding in a can of coconut milk. And I just leave that to simmer for about 7 to 8 minutes. And that is all done. And when I come to serve, I serve it with brown rice, and I added a little bit of tomato puree for color, and this is so delicious. I'd really recommend it. Alright, so that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know that having these meals to hand is gonna make my life so much easier, and it's gonna help me to make good choices this week, especially because we've got all 3 children at home at the moment. We're homeschooling in our 3rd lockdown here in England. So I know this will be a huge help. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.